If you're trying to improve your quality of life by starting a side gig or an online business, and for some reason you notice that your money keeps disappearing in subscriptions and little habits that you have, I'm going to show you the exact way I freed up money without waiting for a higher income. First, let's talk about how I was raised when it comes to money. And what I observed as I was growing up, so I grew up in Haiti, and I know I've mentioned that many times. And what I observed was that my parents paid cash for everything. We did not have at the time the concept of a mortgage or credit card in Haiti when I was growing up. So if you wanted to build a house, what I saw my dad do is buy a land, and then they would build what they call an in-law here. They would build an in-law, a smaller house with a functional bathroom and a functional kitchen on the outside. And then gradually over several years, they would build the bigger house. So by the time the house was built, it was completely yours and it was completely financed by you. And my mom, pretty much the same. Buying a car, I saw my parents buying a car cash. So, in other words, if you didn't have the money to pay for something cash, it meant that you could not afford it. And waiting several years to be able to afford something, it was a concept that was taught to me very early on. And it's like if you don't have another option, you're not exposed to something else, and this is the only thing that then it's normal. And I remember in terms of debt, my mom used to say to me all the time, she's very religious, and she used to say, the borrower is slave to the lender. It's in the Bible. So she would say to me all the time, the borrower is slave to the lender. And she would say those things to me. Let's say, for instance, if I borrow some money from the kid next door to buy something, my mom would be upset that I owe someone money, and she would give me the money back immediately to pay back. And of course, give me the lecture, the borrower is slave to the lender. So very early on, my perception of debt was that it was a trap, because my mom also taught me that it's like when you borrow money and you have to pay it back, you basically spending your future income now. So it's money that you don't have and you're already spending it. She always would drill in my head that I don't want you to borrow money. I don't want you to change the dynamic of your relationship with that person, because, you're friends, but when you borrow money from that friend, now you have this dynamic of master and servant, or master and slave, because you're hunted by the idea that you owe that person money and you need to pay them back. I wanted to emulate what my parents were doing, just financing completely anything that they desired. When I ventured on my own in 1997 and decided to live here, I decided quickly what I wanted to spend my money on, what I wanted to indulge myself with. I used to travel with my parents as a kid, and we used to go back and forth from Haiti to the United States. I knew that experiencing different cultures, going to other countries, was something that I wanted to do more of. That's one way that I wanted to be spending my extra cash. Being able to invest my money was very important to me, because my dad was a businessman, and one of the things that he absolutely enjoyed doing was real estate investing. So I knew, still with the mindset of paying cash, I was like, well, if I am to buy a house or a building, I need to start saving my money. So I need to free money, not only to experience other cultures, but I also need to save money to be able to invest. When I started working and making my own money, I realized that I cannot keep holding on to everything that I currently have, all the subscriptions, all those little habits. Subscriptions that I had at the time was cable TV. The other little habits that I keep calling little habits, they were eating out. I used to eat out a lot because, hey, I'm trying different restaurants and different food that I've never experienced before, especially Chinese food. I'm not going to leave the hot dog behind, right? It was kind of like a decision that I had to make. Do I keep my money going into those subscriptions and those little habits? Or do I give up some of those things so that I can start financing my dreams? And my dream at the time was college education. I wanted to go to the college of my dream. I wanted to start saving money so that one day I could invest in real estate. And most importantly, I wanted to put my money into experiencing other cultures, like visiting other countries. So it's like, I'm like, okay, if I need to finance my dreams, I have to give up something so that I can put that money aside to be able to finance my dream, because I was not going to wait until I am making a higher income to do those things. So, in my quest to free up money to finance my dreams, I remember I started reading finance books. One of the books that I started reading was recommended to me by my sister. I think it was written by Larry Burkett at the time. And he was talking about doing a budget. It was talking about different ways that you can free up your money. And one of the ways that came up in the book was to get rid of cable. Well, that was an easy one for me to do because I was a full-time student. I was working full-time. I remember I had cable and I was setting up my VCR. Remember VCRs? I was setting up my VCR during the day to record the shows that I loved, All My Children, all the soap operas. I remember I used to record those. And then when I get home, when I'm having dinner, I would just play the video so that I can watch those things. I don't really have time to watch TV anyways. Plus, the money I was paying for cable, I'm thinking, oh, I could start putting that towards my dream funding savings account. So I got rid of cable. The other thing that I remember that I got rid of was eating out. I was eating out way too much. So I remember that I started batch cooking. So when I would make some food and I would put them in different containers in the refrigerator, in the freezer, and I started going to work with lunch. I still ate out, so I didn't cut it out completely. I would put cash in my pocket now to pay for those things. So every time I got paid, I would put aside, I think it was $100. And I said, okay, every time I go out to eat, grab breakfast, pay cash for it. So once I ran out of the cash money that I had, that was it. I had to wait for the next paycheck to be able to pay cash for things when I'm eating out. Needless to say that, yes, I did have credit cards because that's one of the things they push on you very early on in this country, especially when you go into college. So I had all those things, but I stopped using all of them because I'm like, okay, I'm going to use cash to eat out. And I also did a budget. I'm like, okay, this is my budget for grocery. This is my budget for everything, my bills, because I was living alone and I had a studio at the time. And I remember that my rent was $420 a month. Oh my God, the days where rent was $420 a month. So the math was pretty easy to do. Anything outside of a necessity, I wasn't spending any money on it because now the goal was, how do I free up the money that I'm already making so that I can start financing my dreams? All right, so let's fast forward when I started my very first online business. My very first online business was designing websites for people. And the way I started this business really was by setting up my own website. Back in those days, starting an online business would cost you literally less than $100 a month because I think WordPress at the time had a very solid free version. And there were not that many other software options out there. So you could start with a free with a free website. You could start with a free email service provider. I believe, what's the name of that monkey one? I forgot the name of it. But there was that email service provider in ConvertKit. And I think there was also Aweber at the time. So all these email service providers, they had a very good free option where you can even go up to your first 10,000 subscribers for free. So setting up an online business back around the 1990s was still something possible for online business owners. But today, that's not the case anymore. But that doesn't mean you cannot finance setting up your online business, because one of the things that I think that people who want to improve their lifestyle with starting online a business, a side gig, or offering their services online, they overlook the cost, because they're thinking to themselves, I'll just buy the domain, I'll try to do all the free stuff. But depending on how you are going to set up your business, for instance, if you're going to work with people one-on-one, if you're going to do consulting, or you need a way to communicate with your clients, you need a way to make the process really smooth. And some of the softwares out there that will help you do that today in 2026, they're not free anymore, but they do have some cost-effective options. And one of the ways, and this is what I did when I first started, free up the money that I needed to finance my dream, because when I freed up the money, to me, I'm financing my dream, and take that money so that I can pay for those subscriptions that I need to be able to run my business online. So I think that is the number one thing that online business, people who want to start an online business, they overlook, because they're like, oh, I'm paying for all these things, this is too expensive. No, it's not expensive. It is the cost of doing business. If there's something that I want you to start saying to yourself right now, is that if you want to set up an online business, stop looking for 100% free stuff, because there are some things that would make running your business easier. They're not free, but at the same time, if you're willing to give up something that is a distraction, okay, that is not helping you make money, like cable. I know some people right now, if you hear me saying to get rid of cable, you're like, oh, I cannot do that. But what's more important to you? Is it that subscription, that entertainment? That's always going to be there, because most of the stuff they show on TV anyways, you can look them up later, you can watch them later. So it's not an emergency. But the time that you have now to be able to finance your dream, that time is never going back. You can make more money. There will be other TV stuff to watch. But the one thing, the greatest asset that you have, aside from your health and your body, is time. You will never get that time back. So freeing up that money is giving yourself the permission to use that time today so you can start building your business. You don't need to wait for bigger income to do that. Just balance things up. Do what you got to do to finance your dream. Okay, so if I fast forward from the 90s to today, 2026, run a list. If we're making a list of things that you can cancel so that you can free up that money, some of the things that comes to mind right now are, of course, the silent killer, cable. I know it's hard, but I also know that some cable package costs up to $250 a month or $300 a month. So there you go. Right there, you free up $300 a month. Another thing is, of course, you stop eating out. If you were doing it 5 times or 6 times a week, reduce it to 2. Okay? Because let's do the math. A good salad nowadays is costing like $15. Okay? A very healthy one. So salad, it's costing you about $6 if you go to Star Market or Stop and Shop and you buy already pre-made salad. On the low end, if you're spending $6 6 times a week, that's $36. But if you're spending $15, let's just say $20 because you got to grab something to drink. If you spend $20 5 times a week, that's $100. 6 times, that's $120 per week. If you leave it at $100 on weekdays per week times 4 weeks, that's $400 a month that you already free up. So that's $400 eating out 5 times a week. And then the cable, that's $300. Okay. So that's already $700 freed up, right? Can you run an online business on $700 a month? Absolutely. You don't even need all that because you can, I would say, out of that $700, roughly 200 a month. As you see, it's all about perspective. Are you trying to hold on to the entertainment that is not helping you build your business? Or are you willing to temporarily give up that entertainment so that you can finance your dream? The third thing that I did to free up money, and I continue to do those things to this date, okay? Because it's so rewarding that I don't even miss those things. You might say, Webley, don't you watch any TV shows that you like? Absolutely. I have Netflix, but that's like $14.99 a month. And if there's a TV channel that has a show that I like, I just take the subscription. No, I wait. I know it's tacky, but I do it. I wait until the season is over. So all the episodes are available to watch. So for season 1 or season 2, then I take a subscription, let's say to Apple TV. I take a subscription and then I binge watch the whole thing. Okay? That's another way. I was going to say something about what some people think about. I've heard people say that to me, by the way, that it's a poverty mindset, but I'm going to address that soon. So we have cable. You get rid of the cable. You stop eating out. Go from 5 times a week to twice a week. You can manage that. Pay cash for eating out. Another thing that I did was that, as you can see today, we didn't have that before. Today, a lot of places like CVS, grocery stores, they have these point systems where, as you're shopping, you're accumulating points. Some products will give you more points and stuff. So just open the free card. Let me use Stop and Shop as an example, because that's one of the places that I accumulate points a lot. So Stop and Shop, I accumulate the points, and then I think once you get to a certain amount of points, you can redeem them for grocery dollars, or what I do most of the time with Stop and Shop, I redeem them for gas, for discount on gas. So I think like each 100 points will give me 10 cents per gallon. And there are some items, if you end up buying those items, you would double or triple those points. So let's say you would buy body wash, an example. You would buy a specific body wash, and then it will give you 5 times the gas point. So when you go to the Stop and Shop gas station, you can end up buying gas instead of $3 a gallon. You can get it for, I don't know, $1.50 per gallon. That's still a saving. Another store that I love, love, love is CVS, because a lot of the daily stuff that I use, like toilet paper towel, laundry detergent, cleaning stuff, dish soap, a lot of those things, we buy them a lot. But can I let you in on a secret? I never pay. I think there's a gallon, a container of Tide detergent that costs $14.99 now. I never paid that price. So the most I would pay is less than $5 for the same thing. So if you want to say that I have a poverty mindset for not paying $14.99 for Tide and paying less than $5, I don't know what to say to that. CVS has the extra care box. So the way that I use the extra care box, number one, I follow people who coupon night and day. This is their bread and butter. So I follow them. And one person that I follow that does it very well, I think her name is Star, and her YouTube channel is Coupon with Star. So every Sunday on the dot, she releases a video and she shows you the deals that she makes at CVS. So what I do from the list that she makes, I make a list of things that I know that I need. Because not every deal you have to make it, especially if it's not something that you need. So I make a list. Mine is always the same thing: paper towel, things I use every day, toilet paper, dish soap, body wash, sometimes even hair stuff. Okay, so I make a list and then I go and I buy those things. The beauty with CVS, the reason I like CVS with the extra care box is because, let's say for instance that I've accumulated $20 in extra care box. I would look for a deal for the week that would give me $20 in extra care box. When I'm paying for that deal, I use the $20 extra care box that I already have. And by completing the deal, I get the $20 extra care box back. You see where I'm going with this? So every week I repeat the same thing. So it's kind of like that same $20 extra care box keeps, I buy something with it and then I get it back. I buy something with it and then I get it back. Of course, I pay some out of pocket money. And usually my trip to CVS, the grand total would be something anywhere from $100 something, and I wouldn't pay more than $30 or the most $40, $50. All that extra that I don't pay, it goes to my dream funding savings. And why am I saying that? Because again, I mentioned earlier that having an online business and everything is free, that's very hard to do. And even if you end up accomplishing, I would say 90% or 80% free, a lot of time your business end up not looking professional because everything looks like they're glued together with duct tape and prayers. And then your client end up not having a good experience. If you're thinking about the tools that would make your client have a great and seamless experience, you will have to spend some money. When I say some money, like some things that would be, let's say for instance, for that email service provider Flodex, I don't know if they still offer this package, like $20 a month. That's not too bad. Google Workspace, I believe now it's probably $16 a month. So when you add those things, remember earlier I showed you how you can literally put aside $700 a month. So between the $20 and then the $16 for YouTube and then for Google. And for instance, if you don't have to start there, but for me, I have a SaaS where everything that has to do with my business, it's run there. And it is $97 a month. It's FG Funnels. It costs $97 a month. But here's another thing that I do to save money. A lot of these tools, when you pay for the year, okay, here goes that $700 a month. That's what it's gonna allow you to do. Okay, it's gonna allow you to pay for the year, so you don't have to worry about monthly payment, which are higher. I pay for the year, so when I pay for the year, it comes to, I think, $83 and change for me per month. So let me tell you all I get for the $83 a month. Email service provider in there. I still have Flowdesk because I love the design and everything, but in there I have email service provider, and I think I have the option that you pay as you go, meaning I only pay when I send an email out, and we're talking like 0.005 cents or 0.001 penny, something like that. I can build as many funnels as I want, or I can set up a store in there that would look something similar to Sten Store, where I have all my products in there if I want to sell my products like that. My website, the website that I currently have, weblyalfred.com, is built in there. I'm getting all this, guys, for $83.33 a month. And the reason why it's so low is because every year I pay for the year. And I think for the year it comes to, I think, $997. And the other thing too I can do in there, I can process client contracts. I send them the contract when I'm starting work with them and they sign it still inside FG Funnels. What else do they do? Oh, I can send invoices. So let's say if I'm doing one-time work with a client and I'm just invoicing them for that work, I can send them an invoice. I can schedule recurring payments. I can set up a chatbot, an AI chatbot in there to talk to people. Let's say you're visiting one of my pages, you're visiting my blog, for example, or my website, and you want to ask me a question, you're able to do that. I can even do phone calls in there. Oh, my calendar too is in there. No need for Calendly, no need for those things. Everything is under one roof. And one of my favorite features is the fact that, let's say I'm working with more than one client at a time. There's this pipeline feature where, but this you got to set it up. I set up this pipeline where the person fills out an application, for instance, and they want to work with me. And I set the price and said, okay, this client is worth X amount of money. I have the potential of making X amount of money. Once they sign the contract and they pay the invoice, it's telling me on my pipeline, this is how much money that you made with client A, client B, client C. And I can set up my freebies if you want to opt into something. And when I look on the back end, it tells me, where that person came from, meaning where did they find out about me? Was it on social media? Was it on my website? Was it on YouTube? So it's telling me where the traffic is coming from. And I can do split testing for my funnels. But anyways, I digress. I think I'm getting too excited about this because I love a good saving, okay? I love a good saving. And don't get me wrong. Now, to address that idea that people say, hey, I'm not couponing because it's a poverty mindset. I don't know what to say about that being a poverty mindset, but let me just say that this is my way of financing my dream. And there are some things that I coupon for, let's say toilet paper, laundry detergent. And at the same time, part of financing my dream can be hiring a coach. In order for me to be able to pay that coach, because this is an investment in myself, an investment in my knowledge, I need money to do that. If that means not paying $14.99 for Tide and pay less than $5 so that I can put that money in my dream fund so that I can hire a coach to be better at what I'm doing online, which would improve my quality of life and which will allow me to bring in additional income to finance other things that I want to experience. Traveling is not cheap. And when I'm traveling, thanks to my life partner, I like to be comfortable when I'm traveling. He loves to make it, when I say super comfortable for me, super comfortable for me. He spoils me like that. When I'm experiencing another culture, I just want to be free. And part of that freedom is to be able to finance that. I give up something that is not a high importance for me so that I can get something else that is more important to me. This is how I would address that poverty mindset. It's not poverty mindset, it's a balance. What someone is calling poverty mindset, I call it a lifestyle design, okay? Because I don't believe in waiting for someone to come and save you, give you the business in a box, give you the lifestyle that you need. And I believe in trying to find ways with what you have today to, you may not get 100% of what you want, but to get some of it, start working towards it. So it's a lifestyle design. And a lot of time we don't look at what are some of the habits, some of the things that we're currently doing that are keeping us from that lifestyle that we want. I'm going to leave you with this. I want you to go and look at every single subscription that you have, every single one of them, and sort them into essential and non-essential. I'm going to tell you, cable is one of them. And just pick one of them. One of them. Either you change your cable. If you can't go cold turkey, I like to go cold turkey. But if you cannot go cold turkey, swap the cable for probably a subscription to the channel that you like the most. If you like, I don't know, Apple TV, you like what, say, okay, I'm getting rid of cable, but I'm going to keep Apple TV. I think it's like what, $9.99 or $12.99 a month. I'm giving up $300 a month and I'm keeping the $12 a month only. The extra that you're not paying, set it aside on a dream fund. After, I would say 3 months, look at how much you have. Look at also the progress that you've made. How did you use that extra TV time? Did you read more? Were you able to afford a coach that you were not able to afford before? Were you able to join a mentoring program that that was the next step for you in your business? This is the mindset shift that I'm inviting you to make, because do not wait until you're making higher income to start this dream in process. Because if you're waiting, you're going to wait a long time. I am absolutely aware that not a lot of people have the privilege of doing that. That's why I say start small. Start with something small. If you're eating out every day, let's say every morning you pick up breakfast and it's costing you $20. You're like, I'm just going to pick up breakfast on my way to work twice only this week. And the other 3 times I'm setting the money aside. You balance it out. You balance it out so that you can see the reward. And hopefully that reward is going to inspire you to eventually go cold turkey, because now you discovered a way to finance something that means more to you, something that's going to allow you to start designing the lifestyle that you want. So this is what I have for you guys today. My name is Webley, and that was, let me see, day 16. My first unscripted day. Thank you, Glow. I hope that this inspired you to look at your habits, look at those pesky little subscriptions to find a way to free up the money that you need so that you can start designing the life that you want. And you don't have to go big. You don't have to go big. You can start small. You can start with paying that website that you always wanted to do, or get a FG Funnel subscription like I did. And everything is under one roof and it's costing you $97 a month, or you pay for the year, it's costing you $83 a month. When you start tasting that freedom, you start tasting that thing that you kind of like giving yourself permission, then you just wake up one day and you're like, you know what? Let's go cold turkey. Let's just go all the way because I'm loving this. I will see you tomorrow for day 17 with more tips, more lessons, and more inspiration.